Welcome back to Trek Retrek, episode 10, the Corbomite Maneuver, here on the Geek the F Out channel. I'm Captain Johnny.
And I'm Ensign Kayla.
How you doing?
I'm great. It's been so long since we've talked.
Oh my! Right? Feels
been
like forever.
Years.
Should have said that the last time we recorded.
Yeah, that's
it would have been more true.
Yeah. This time, not as much.
So this episode, the Corbomite Maneuver, according to TVGuide.com, and this is where I was saying, like, this one's much more spoilery than the IMDb one. Mm-hmm. Kirk uses a desperate gamble, the Corbomite Maneuver, to save the Enterprise from destruction at the hands of Balok, a mysterious alien who accuses him of trespassing. Although the episode title is the Corbomite Maneuver, but this description makes it sound like it's a thing that is like an actual maneuver, but yeah. He just fucking made it up on the spot. Like
he did.
I'm pretty sure Kirk pulled that out of his ass.
Yeah, his hat and his ass, has avocados.
His ass hat.
Ass hat. He can be an ass hat, that is for sure. That is.
Yes, we talked about that last time.
Yeah.
The perils of episodic television.
Yeah. It is. Shall we get into it though?
Let's get right into it. I have to chuckle because there's MTG Goldfish, one of the guys that does videos. There is his Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive. Every video he intros with we've got this to talk about, so we should probably just get right into it. He says that every time. Like that's his segue into should we start talking about it? Yeah. Like there's nothing special going on. It's not that he has any more news than he ever does. Yeah. It's just he always goes, so we should probably just get right into it. And then he segues to the sponsor, which is not getting right into it. Anyway, you don't care. You're not here about magic. You're here about Star Trek.
Yeah.
So this episode, first thing I have in my notes is Uhura is in gold again, and there's a very good reason for that.
Which is?
We'll cover that in. Oh. I'll talk about it in episode trivia.
I want to know now.
It'll come up. This was the first episode that was produced after the pilots.
Oh, okay.
So they recorded Where No Man Has Gone Before. No, They recorded The Cage. Then they recorded Where No Man Has Gone Before. And then they recorded the Corbomite Maneuver.
Okay. Interesting. All this moving around.
Yeah. That's why my next note, the collars on almost everybody's shirt are really big, except for Kirk's. They're almost like turtlenecks.
Yeah, I think I kind of noticed that. Well, also when he's carrying his shirt around, because spoiler alert, we get shirtless Kirk again.
Yeah, right away. Shirtless Kirk right off the bat.
Right away. Yep, gotta have the shirtless Kirk. But my first comment, which I realized as the episode was going, has Bailey been there before? He's been there before, right? Or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, then I'm not crazy, because I was second guessing if he has been there before or not. But I was like, who's this new blondie?
That chair to Sulu's right is a rotating cast of characters. Like the last time it was significant was O'Reilly in The Naked Time.
Mm-hmm. And I said, Sulu, we missed you.
Yeah.
Been a minute.
The thing that well, we can talk about this in memes because we both used it in our spoilers without context. What that buoy reminds me of, that warning buoy reminds me of.
The it reminded me of a couple of things.
Yeah. The stardate is 1512.2.
Okay.
Shirtless Kirk. Again, obviously. What's some other notes you have? Because I'm almost out.
I was going to say, Spock's makeup ears look pretty good this episode. Where's Kirk? And then I said, LOL, Microsoft, spinning cube of death. What is this? And then, yes, in all caps, it was shirtless Kirk strikes again with the leg pumping machine. I love that machine.
And he's wearing blue no-show socks, which I didn't know no-show socks like existed before. Like, he's got regular black socks on, but over his regular black socks, there's these blue like slipper socks that don't even come up to his ankle that he's got on when he's doing the kicking thing.
I did not even notice that. You always notice these things that I do not notice. Okay, the next couple of things are some of my favorite lines, so I'll leave those. And then, LOL, Kirk, you couldn't take half a second to put your shirt on. Like, he's just waltzing around with it over his shoulders. I was like, the amount of time it took you to put that over your shoulders, you could have put that over your head and onto your body and not be like a sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen.
Especially when he's if it's good enough for Kirk, it should be good enough for anybody. Free the nipple, like
yes,
equality for everyone.
Nipples everybody on the nipples. Enterprise. They're not sexual things. Society has sexualized them. It literally gives life to babies. Come on.
Everybody on the Enterprise should be able to walk around shirtless at all times.
Just imagine. That would be great. And Mr. Bailey came out of nowhere. My next note is, LOL, it's been 18 hours and they're struggling already. Like, when they're in that like command room or whatever it was, and
the briefing room,
and like half of them have their heads on the table. I was like, it's literally been 18 hours. Are y'all okay? It's not been that long.
Which the briefing room, speaking of the briefing room, the cups make their return to the briefing room.
Yep.
Everybody's got one of those. Which I think there was one in Dagger of the Mind, too, at the very end. Maybe.
I don't think I saw it.
And then we go to, I think they go to Stardate 1514.0. There's a lot of things between now and then that stuck in my mind, but I didn't actually write down. So maybe I'll think of them as we come across them.
Yeah. I just have a bunch of random notes. What's the next thing I have? Oh, in that same briefing room, Kirk says gentlemen, and Uhura is sitting right there.
Yeah.
I was like, she's sitting right there. You're so close, but so far. When the ship was shaking, it's the very classic acting like the ground is moving and having to shake around. Oh, it's just so good. Yeah. It's so bad yet so good. I just realized I forgot to. It's okay. And then I said, what is this phallic handle they have to hold on the elevator now? I don't think they have that before. There. It has been there, but have they had to hold it the whole time?
Yeah, as far as I remember.
Really?
Yeah. They grab it, they turn it, like the little thing lights up, and then they say where they want to go.
You got to work it first, and then it'll work for you.
Yeah, you got to give it just a gentle, little gentle rub.
Yeah. The next thing I have is the interesting shot glasses, which at the end of the episode, there was also similar ones. They look like the shot measure, where it looks like two cones stacked, like a, what do you call it? Those sand time turners.
Hourglass?
Hourglass. There we go. Thank you. And I said, yay, Janice is back. Miss Janice.
This is technically the first episode Janice was in. That's why it's a little weird, because Kirk's like, whoever at command thought it was a good idea to give me a female yeoman, and it's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, she's been there. You've pretty much confessed your love for each other already.
Bones is like, don't trust yourself, Jim. He's like, I've already got a female to worry about. Her name's the Enterprise. And it's one of those things where, like, as progressive as the show is, with inclusion of, you know, people of different race as main characters and focusing on female characters, there's still that, I don't know if the systemic ingrained, like, inferiority of women throughout the culture. But they're trying. But
unfortunately, they are trying, quote unquote. Okay, I'll save those lines, and then I put golf ball. Is this Epcot? JK, it's a ball of Epcots. It was like all these little Epcots made a huge ball together. And then they called it the United Earthship Enterprise.
Yeah, that is the first and only time it's referred to as United Earthship. Yeah,
I'm glad I'm not crazy for thinking that.
No, it's one of those weird things where, you know, third episode recorded, they're still kind of figuring things out. So
that makes sense now. Okay.
There's a lot of trivia about this episode, and I won't go through all of it, but when we get to trivia, there's going to be more than the typical. I try to keep it to 3. But we'll have a couple more points to talk about with episode trivia.
Okay, cool. Excited for that.
That is going to help pad out this episode because I don't have a lot to say about
it. My next note is JK, now Spock has smoky eyes again. Oh, and then, the fuck is this alien dude? That's my next note. Because it's funny because before it's even revealed, he looked fake. But then again, we've had literal mannequins pretending to be dead people on this show. So I didn't want to judge. Yeah, dogs in cosplay, like literally could have been this one that's on my lap in the little costume. For all we could have known. Okay, I'll save those lines. Oh, and then it was the same thing as what just happened in the bridge. The people in the hallway when the ship was moving around, and they're like, "Oh, let's fall to the side." Great acting. Oh, I don't know what this was referring to. Oh, I do. I know now. I said Kirk is really cutting things close this episode. Both with when they decide to use the phasers, and then also like the countdown at the end. I think that was the main things I was thinking of for that. I definitely have more. That's what they said this episode too, luckily. I said, stop. Is that a kid? Like after all this, it's literally a kid. What is going on here?
I have fun facts about the kid.
Ooh.
In episode trivia.
Okay. And then when he brings out the drinks, there is definitely only 2 little cups, and then all of a sudden there's 4 of them out of nowhere. Or maybe they were just hiding behind the punch bowl.
I thought there were 3 on the thing with the punch bowl, but he already had one in his hand.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just saw it wrong. And I said, well, this took an interesting turn. And then with Mr. Bailey going on that ship, I was like, oh, that's why they focused on him this episode, to like give him a little bit of character development before he goes off, even though we've never seen him before.
And we'll probably never see him again.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we don't.
Yeah. And that's all I have.
Yeah, I only have one thing for favorite lines, and it's from the very beginning.
Okay. For your
So should
favorite
we
line?
move
Yeah, do
on
you
to
want to
favorite moments and lines?
Sure.
Yeah, Bailey says, something to the effect of, I wasn't scared, I happen to have an adrenal gland. And Spock's like, that sounds most inconvenient. Have you considered having it removed?
Yep. I wrote that one down too. I thought that was funny. I liked the, what am I, a doctor or a moon shuttle conductor from McCoy? And then right after when he says, if I jumped every time a light came in around here, I end up talking to myself, which
He already
that
was.
he literally was talking to himself. That was chef's kiss. What are the other lines? I just saw them. Oh, what is this? Green leaves? Like typical, like Ron Swanson, like, oh, this is greens. I don't want to eat this. I only want meat and potatoes. And then I put down the same line. I already got a female to worry about. Her name's the Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who said this, but it says, "What are you, robots?"
Bailey says it.
Bailey says
when he's
it?
freaking out
Okay.
on the bridge. Yeah, before Kirk relieves him.
Yeah, and then Scotty says to Spock, I can't remember the lines they said before this, but when he said, then may heaven have helped your mother.
Yeah, Spock said that Baylock kind of reminds him of his father.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I knew it was something funny, too. I think that's it. Yeah, it was an interesting episode, especially because it was so much on the Enterprise, and
It's almost a bottle episode.
yeah, almost, which I think even when they went on to the kids ship, the Epcot ship, I think even then that was maybe stuff that they already had for the Enterprise, those shots.
Well, good eye. It was a redress of the conference room.
There we go. See, I knew it looked familiar. Yeah, it was interesting. It was fun. It was an interesting twist at the end. The ending was a little odd. He's like, here, let me just show you my ship. And then that's how it ends. Like, they don't even like show, because I think almost every other episode is ended on the bridge.
Yeah.
Except for this one. So that was interesting.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you're right.
Yeah, it was good though. I didn't mind it. We'll get into the ranking more.
Something I didn't write down that I was talking about was the whole conversation between McCoy and Kirk that leads to the bluffing and the poker conversation. Mm-hmm. Which is funny because it kind of came up in last episode too, when they were talking about the penal colony, and
you had to say it again.
I had to. And McCoy was like, I'll have to note this in my log, which will require you to address it in your log. And then in this one, McCoy's like, I'll put, like, almost threatening Kirk. Like, I'm gonna tell on you. I'm gonna put in my log that you pushed him too hard, not bluffing. And Kirk started to say something to the effect of, you want to bluff me, doctor? And then cut himself off.
Yeah.
Which is part of the thing we were talking about, Kirk being a dick, like, and getting snippy when he's angry.
He does.
Like, it's one of those things, and it's probably because it's early and they're still establishing things, but like, whenever people talk about Star Trek, the original series, it's Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Like, those three are the three musketeers. They're fast friends. Yep. But Kirk and McCoy's relationship is really strange.
It is. The jokes that they'll make to each other, especially like last episode. Yeah, it's very different.
And I know one of the things with McCoy is that his nickname's Bones. He's old-fashioned. And the nickname Bones comes from old-time doctors being the old sawbones. Like, that's why he's called Bones. I think they even talk about that. No, they changed it in the Kelvinverse movies, because I remember on the shuttle when Carl Urban McCoy was talking to Kirk, he's like, wife left me, just all she left me was my bones. And that's
Yeah, I
why
need to
why his nickname in those is Bones. Here, I don't know if they ever say why his nickname is Bones, but I know the intention was, old Sawbones, go back to old time pioneer doctors. Anyway, but yeah, it's like McCoy will be laid back and conversational with Kirk and be like calling him Jim, and then Kirk will like snap at him and be like, "Doctor, that's an order," and he'll be like, "Yes, sir."
It's not consistent. Whatever they're trying to go for is not consistent yet. They clearly haven't figured it out. Not quite there yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the biggest other thing that I noticed is they're still trying to figure out the relationship, exactly what the relationship between Kirk and McCoy is.
Yeah.
So that's all I have for that kind of stuff. Do we want to move on to That's What They Said?
Sure.
So I believe you started last time. Would you like me to start off?
Go for it.
Still coming.
Probe on ahead or turn back?
Much larger. Coming towards us.
You have been examined.
Plotted and laid in.
Switch to impulse.
She'll blow soon.
Let me show you my vessel. It is not often I have this pleasure. Which there was more to be much larger coming towards us. Like there was stuff before that, but I was like, I just want to keep that last part.
Yeah.
Also, that worked out very well. Even though
these were good ones this episode.
Yeah.
So that will bring us to episode trivia from Memory Alpha. Let me get this stuff up. This was the first regular episode of Star Trek: The Original Series produced following the 2 pilots. We covered that. Although the script instructed Spock actor Leonard Nimoy to emote a fearful reaction upon his first sight of the Baylock puppet, director Joseph Sargent suggested to Nimoy that he ignore what the script called for and instead simply react with the single word, fascinating. The suggestion of this response helped refine the Spock character.
I mean, yeah, because he doesn't have emotions.
Right, yeah.
That wouldn't make sense.
Michael Dunn, popular at the time for his role as Dr. Lovelace in The Wild Wild West, was an early choice for the part of Baylock. However, Gene Roddenberry thought something much more weird would be more effective, leading to 6-year-old Clint Howard being cast. Clint Howard is the brother of director Ron Howard.
Oh.
And he has been in the original series, Star Trek Enterprise, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Discovery. I believe Memory Alpha said him and Majel Barrett are the only actors who have appeared in both the original series and Star Trek Enterprise.
That's awesome.
Despite the introduction of the Red Operations Division tunic in this episode, Uhura is seen in a gold Command Division uniform both here and in Mudd's Women, which I talked about during Mudd's Women. She also incongruously wears a Sciences Division assignment patch rather than the appropriate command star, which I talked about in Mudd's Women, but this fact wasn't in the Mudd's Women stuff on Memory Alpha. So
you just know your shit too well.
I just apparently.
Clearly.
There's a lot of the other one that I have, part of Kirk's dialogue, there's no such thing as the unknown, only things temporarily hidden, is also said by Kirk in the alternate reality in Star Trek Beyond. So I thought that was interesting. Apparently that's a line that they pulled over to Star Trek Beyond.
Interesting. Yeah, once again, I'm going to have to rewatch those.
Some other random tidbits. A lot of the stuff on Memory Alpha for this is... it says it contains a number of firsts for the costume department. And again, it's because this is the first regular episode of the season that was made after the pilots. Although some of the pilots' uniforms were seen on background extras, this is the first episode in which black collars on tunics debuted. Nevertheless, some of the uniforms, particularly Spock's, have higher, loose turtleneck black collars than generally appeared throughout the series. It says in Sulu's first close-up, the zipper built into the collar is clearly visible. And that answers... I always wondered, there was always this big white piece, like, on the left-hand side of the collar. And I'm like, is that weird stitching? What is that? Apparently, it's a zipper.
Pulled back the curtain on that one.
Because he was wearing a leftover from the first 2 pilots that was retrofitted with the new black collar.
Got it.
This was also the initial appearance of skirt uniforms as well as plunging neckline collars for most women.
Of course.
It says the men's uniforms feature a raglan construction where the seams for the sleeves go all the way to the collar, which is probably part of what allowed in the naked time for McCoy to just rip Kirk's sleeve off completely.
You know, Kirk has to show some skin every episode.
This is the first episode this is the first episode to introduce pointed sideburns on all the male crew members. And the last one I'll do is apparently makeup artist Fred Phillips originally wanted to shave Clint Howard's head. He's like 6 years old at this point. And it says, however, the boy and his father denied his request, and Howard wore a bald cap in his appearance as Baylock.
Request denied.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that checks out. It is a kid, after all.
See, it's interesting. It's interesting. It's Clint Howard. He's Ron Howard's brother. He's been in this Enterprise. Let me see. I think it says on Memory Alpha. Clint Howard. I don't know. He is 64. I don't know if Ron Howard's older or younger than that. Oh, he is the younger brother of actor
I was going to say,
Howard.
I think Ron Howard's older. He's young.
Clint's career began at the age of 1 with a role on The Andy Griffith Show.
Damn.
A television show that starred his brother.
What did he do after this?
The Fugitive, Bonanza, Judd for the Defense, Love, American Style, The Odd Couple, Gunsmoke, The Mod Squad, Streets of San Francisco. He's been in a
lot.
Bunch of stuff.
Damn.
But it said that he is the only performer to date who has appeared in both the original series and Star Trek Discovery, excluding performers who appeared in archive footage.
Mm-hmm.
And on Comedy Central's 2006 roast of William Shatner, he reprised his role as Baylock in an older, grown-up form addicted to Tranya.
Tranya. LOL.
Oh,
I want to know what that tasted like.
It was grapefruit juice.
Oh.
That was one of the other facts. I thought I added it to the thing, but it's missing here. But it was grapefruit juice, and it apparently took a lot of effort for young Clint Howard to act like it tasted good. There's so many other things that could.
Yeah, they could have just put
make some tang.
Yeah, or Kool-Aid or apple juice or just like mix a bunch of juices together. I don't know. Poor child.
Like I almost used a picture of Jungle Juice for my spoilers without context.
That's funny.
Because that's what I thought of, the punch bowl coming out. I'm like,
yeah.
They're getting fucked up on that.
Yeah. It looked good. I was like, I want to try some.
Yeah, apparently it was just grapefruit juice.
Interesting. Oh, good to know.
So speaking of memes and spoilers without context, let's go to our spoilers without context. So we will bring...
We're going to do mine first this time?
Yes, I believe I went first last time. So we'll bring Ensign Kayla's spoilers without context up on the screen for you.
Yes. So the Rubik's Cube / Microsoft symbol. There's something else that has that logo that I could not find that has like that colorful cube logo, and I couldn't figure it out.
The only other thing I was thinking of, and I should have used this. I spoilers without context. I used a Rubik's Cube as well. I should have used Cubert. You remember the old video game Cubert?
Nope.
Look it up. It reminded me of Cubert too.
Good to know. And then I did Megamind because even though I've not seen that movie, that's what the alien reminded me of. Mm-hmm. And then these are both for the kid, Baby Geniuses, and then of course Mini Me. Yep, that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to do one for Baylock, but it just wasn't coming to me, so I ended up going a different direction. But those are great. Good. We'll go ahead and bring mine up on the screen, and again, Rubik's Cube.
Yes.
Because what else is, and then I had to go hunting for an old vintage like Christmas ornament because that's what you said, Epcot, which was great. But like those old beaded like
oh my god,
Christmas
I thought those
ornaments
were push pins for a second. How funny. Or a COVID thing.
I think they are push pins. I think you push the pin through like a bead and a sequin into like the foam ball to make the Christmas ornament.
Oh, interesting.
I have a very distinct memory of one of these from when I was a kid that my family had, that was all gold and looked similar to like what the Fesarius looked like as a ship.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find a picture. This was the closest thing I could find.
Yeah.
And then of course, Pinocchio for Kirk bluffing.
Yes.
And then
perfect.
The old Rock-afire band from Showbiz Pizza Place. The for Baylock the puppet.
Is that similar to
Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. A lot of Chuck E. Cheese bought Showbiz.
Yeah.
Or Showbiz rebranded the Chuck E. Cheese. But when I was a kid, it was Showbiz Pizza Place, and I had a birthday party there one time. It was fun.
I don't think I ever had a birthday at Chuck E. Cheese. I went to a lot of birthdays there, though. That and what was it? It was like bamboo something. Bamboozled. Bamboo-ra. I don't know. And then one that was literally, yeah, probably. And then one that was literally called like the Jungle or something like that. It was like, those were both like big like play places, whereas like Chuck E. Cheese was more like, they did have some play areas, but I remember it being more games.
It was from what I remember, it was mostly games.
Yeah.
When here in Pennsylvania, it was Showbiz Pizza Place / Chuck E. Cheese. Mm-hmm. There was Aladdin's Castle. And they had to be a chain because they had their own like tokens with castles on them and their logo. And then there was another one called Crocodile Alley, which was like a pool tables and video games.
Bamboola. I'll think of it. I'll find it.
That will do it for our spoilers without context. So that will bring us to ranking the episode. Ensign Kayla, how do you rank the Corbomite Maneuver?
What should I rank it? I think I'm going to give it an Ensign.
Okay.
It was just not that exciting. Like it was and it wasn't. And like, I mean, the twist at the end was cool, but then it kind of like ended on a weird note all of a sudden. I don't know. It was kind of just weird for me. It didn't. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
This is another one of those where I know I've watched this before and I'm like, I remember this episode, but I don't remember what happens at the end.
Yeah.
And then like as soon as they beamed over onto the ship before it showed him, I'm like, oh yeah, it's the fucking weird kid. That's what this episode is.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm going to give it Lieutenant.
Okay.
Because I think it's worth watching. Because I enjoyed the episode. I think it's a really enjoyable episode. It doesn't have a lot of rewatchability. Like, I only watched it once. I don't think I want to watch it a second time.
Yeah, I watched it
back
twice
to back.
and I struggled.
Plus that, not that this is necessarily justification for watching the episode, but that image of Baylock sitting on his bed, like 6-year-old Clint Howard in costume, like that is an iconic image from Star Trek.
See, I don't know that. I don't have
at least in my experience.
I don't have that prior knowledge. Good yawn.
Well, that's
why
the point of all this,
yes.
right?
I know nothing.
Your perspective, and I know lots. I was going to say everything, but that is not correct. I know lots.
You know everything.
I know all. I am all.
I'm Jon Snow, and what's something that's all-knowing? I don't even know.
Q. We'll just leave it at that. Don't question it. Just go with it. It's very Star Trek appropriate.
That
just
makes
Q.
me think of James Bond, but okay.
Yeah. So the next episode, hang on, I gotta preview these now. Oh yeah. I gotta see which one of these is least spoilery for you. Actually, this is all I'm gonna say. The next episode is a 2-parter.
Oh, okay.
It's the Menagerie.
Okay.
Spock. This is my own summary because both of the official summaries for these are really spoilery.
Oh, shit.
All I'm gonna say about the Menagerie is Spock takes steps to help his former Captain Pike.
Okay.
Yes, that Pike from Captain Pike from Strange New Worlds and Captain Pike from the Kelvinverse movies.
Mm-hmm.
Who has a whole different role in those movies than he does in this. But yeah, in the Menagerie, Spock takes steps to help his former Captain Pike.
Interesting. Okay.
That's what we're going to read.
See, I thought this one was going to be a part 1. And then all of a sudden I looked at the time. I was like, there's 5 minutes left. How are we going to sum this up? Oh, we're going to beat and switch and it's going to be a kid.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that this next one is a 2-parter.
It's definitely different. This next one is a 2-parter. So we'll have to discuss how we're going to, this is our first 2-parter. So I'm not sure how we're going to handle that, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Thanks everyone for joining.
Do all the YouTube stuff, comment, subscribe,
smack it all.
Smack everything, bell icon.
Smack.
We appreciate everyone. Let's see, when is this airing? Because this is
I don't know.
I hope everybody enjoyed their July 4th because I think this episode will be on July 6th.
Okay.
So hopefully everybody had a safe holiday, and we will see you next week for the Menagerie.
Follow us at GTFO channel on Instagram and Twitter for all the updates. I was going to say what we have upcoming, but that will be in the past when this airs, so never mind. All right.
Everything's in the description. So until next time.
Peace and long life.
Live long and prosper. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.